On June 19th, 2024, I visited Toverland in Sevenum, the Netherlands for the first time. Before visiting, Toverland was pretty high on my bucket list as it ended up being the only non-German park on my European theme park trip, so I was really excited for this. But somehow, despite how excited I was to visit, Toverland still blew my expectations out of the water. Not only is it a fantastic park as it is right now, but it has a brilliantly bright future ahead of it, both from a theme park and roller coaster perspective, so both theme park enthusiasts and roller coaster enthusiasts alike should be very excited for what this park is going to become in the coming years. So in this video, I'm going to explain why Toverland in its current form is already amazing, and why it is primed to become the next great European theme park. Unlike many European theme parks that tend to have a ton of history dating back maybe 50 to 100 years even, Toverland only has existed for about 23 years, opening in 2001, so it's a very young park in the grand scheme of things. It originally opened with only one themed land, an indoor section called Land van Toos, and since then it's been slowly growing and adding more themed areas, including the Avalon section, which is the most recent, as well as the area with Troy, the Magical Valley with Toverland, and other places like that. To go from a family fun center like it was when it opened to the pretty large-scale theme park that it is now is incredibly impressive, and a lot of parks can't really say that they could grow that quickly with the kind of budgeting that Toverland has. At some point I'll be making a video about how the average European theme park is more fleshed out and impressive than the average American theme park, and part of that is because of family-owned theme parks like Toverland. So much of Toverland's charm can be attributed to the fact that there's no corporate entity running it, and so every addition that they make always seems so well thought out and intentional, as if it was literally crafted with love for the park itself. I've just become so accustomed to the new Disney method of draining every cent from every consumer that walks through its gates that when I see a park like Toverland build so many little interactive moments and themed details that have nothing to do with making more money, it just blows my mind. From all those interactive themed buildings in Avalon where you can press a button and have it snow on you or crank a wheel to see a scene play out, to a part of the Magical Valley where there's a bunch of fountains spraying that you have to dodge as you're walking past them, there are so many little things that have nothing to do with microtransactions or something along those lines that are just there because they're fun and they have nothing to do with drawing guests in. They're just there to make your experience better by default. In a way, it's a very small-scale version of what Europa Park is, in that there are just little things to see in every nook and cranny of the park, and it's so fun to explore and see what you find. This is all in very sharp contrast to other lesser theme parks that seem to just be adopting the idea of funneling guests from one long line to another long line in order to make them feel like they're wasting their time, so they go and spend money buying food or buying merchandise. I mean, don't get me wrong, Toverland has food and merchandise to buy, and they're obviously there in the business of making money, but it seems like every dollar that they're making is getting reinvested into making the park better. They've got great staff that seem very enthusiastic and get trains moving quickly, especially on their higher popularity rides, and they've just got a wonderful atmosphere that seems clean and well sanitized and well kept, and everything about it just works. And honestly, one of the most impressive parts about this park is how much you're able to get out of it despite how small it is, because obviously it started out as a family entertainment center and grew over the years, but it's still pretty small in terms of acreage, so there's a good number of rides, but not nearly as many as, say, a Europa Park or even a Phantasialand, which has less space but just crams rides in. So the fact that they're able to keep your attention for so long, and I was there from park open to park close and I was never bored, so this place is really impressive on that front. Even more amazingly, that small size now plays greatly to Toverland's advantage, because as it's grown, it's become more popular and has started making more money, and now they have more funds to expand in different ways, and they have so much space around them that they can expand into. Now, please take this with a grain of salt, or maybe even like a pound of salt, because I don't have sources other than just things that I heard, but at Toverland, while I was there, it was not busy whatsoever, so I got to striking up conversations with ride operators or other employees, and I heard some things that were pretty interesting about the future of this park. Those conversations left me with two very apparent observations, one of which is that Toverland is very, very interested in competing with both the Efteling and Phantasialand, two of the best theme parks in the entire world. So that's a pretty lofty goal to aspire to. If you're going to come to take the spots of the big guns, then you've got to make some really, really impressive moves, and I'm expecting those, because the other thing that I heard is that they are planning on making more highly themed, highly thrilling lands, sort of like Avalon, or perhaps sort of like Klugheim at Phantasialand. If this is true, then this is absolutely massive, because having seen what Toverland was able to do with Avalon, if they took an entire themed land sort of like Klugheim and built that up, then they could do just as well as Phantasialand, honestly. Their creative team is clearly operating at a very high level, and not quite on the exact same level as Phantasialand or Efteling or Europa Park, but they could be one of the top dogs pretty quickly if they build like 1 or 2 more incredible lands. And I'm not using Klugheim as comparison for no reason, because one thing that I heard that is most definitely a rumor with no substantiated facts whatsoever is that the owners of this park are very interested in Intamin Blitz coasters. If that happens, then this place could be roller coaster enthusiast heaven very fast. I mean, just imagine having another Klugheim-like land just an hour away from Phantasialand at Toverland, a park that is already great. I mean, it would be theme park heaven. Genuinely. You could just go to that part of the world and go back and forth between Phantasialand and Toverland over and over again and never get bored. Not to mention that Efteling is right there, and that Walibi Holland is nearby, and there's so many other parks in Belgium and the Netherlands, and Europa Park is like 2.5 hours away too. It's a hotbed for theme parks in general, and the fact that Toverland is becoming another world-class spot in that part of the world is baffling, honestly, and pretty awesome for anyone who lives in that area. It's almost like that area where the southernmost part of the Netherlands meets up with Germany has become the Orlando of the European theme park market. Obviously, it's not as condensed as Orlando's theme parks are, but having that many world-class parks that close to each other is truly special, honestly. And Toverland is just a sleeping giant waiting to emerge onto that scene and become the 4th head of that ridiculous hydra of parks. It's so sick. I'm really, really excited to see what they do there, and I am pumped to return at some point soon. So that's all I've got for this very short Toverland video. I wouldn't even really call this a review, more just my thoughts on what this park is and how it's going to be in the coming years. I think there should be a decent amount of hype for what this park will become, and I'm super excited to see what that's like. If you've also visited Toverland, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Maybe you have some information that could either corroborate or entirely disprove the points that I've made about its future. All of this was based on speculation from people who may or may not have actual information, so I have no idea if these things are actually going to happen, but they seem incredibly plausible based on the things that I've seen from Toverland's most recent editions while I was there. And also, I might just be a bit hopeful, because how much fun would it be to have another incredible top-tier theme park in that part of the world to visit, all in succession. You go Efteling to Toverland to Phantasialand to Europa Park, all in a week. I mean, there's not much you can get better than that, is there? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. My next video is my Phantasialand vlog, the last vlog of the trip, which I know a lot of people seem to have been very excited about, and I hope you all enjoy it. I'm going to try really hard to make it as good a video as I can. So, thank you all very much. Have a great day. I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.